Good morning and welcome back to video number 3 for this Monday. This is a longer than usual video because the royal family has really been busy this week. So let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start with Princess Anne. She went to visit the NHBC training hub in Cambridge. They were officially opening the National House Buildings Council Bricklaying Apprenticeship Training Hub. That is a mouthful. Now, for those of you who don't know, the NHBC provides warranty and insurance for new homes, and it set up the hub as part of efforts to address the skills shortage in the house building sector. So Anne arrived and was shown around the outdoor learning space, which had, pieces of partially built brick structures on a concrete slab. And this is where apprentices, practice. So she walked around, she spoke to multiple people that were there that were learning. As is usual, the people who spoke to her said that they were really impressed with her knowledge and that she was explaining to them about damp proofing courses, which is something that they said really caught them off guard because she really seemed to have a good knowledge base and really seemed interested in everything that they were doing. They presented her with a commemorative brick, and then she went inside and she cut, this is a really cool looking cake, shaped like a house. That's a cake. How cool is that? Yeah, look. I love her. Moving on, we have Duchess Sophie, who attended a reception for the Georgetown Institute of Women, Peace and Security launch of, quote, Women, Peace and Security Index. Love her outfit. And as usual, a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us. I love this dress. She has such good fashion taste. All right, let's move on, but we're going to stick with Sophie. So Sophie, in her role as Global Ambassador for the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness, went to the venue for the Orbis Visionaries reception. The aim of this group is to, quote, transform lives through the prevention and treatment of blindness. Now, this meeting took place at the Abbey Road's studios. And for those of you who don't recognize that, just think of the Beatles. Now, they also did a cover, a very famous cover, where the Beatles walked across Abbey Road. So after Sophie was done, of course, in this meeting where she gave her speech, then, of course, she came outside and decided to cross the street. I think Sophie looks absolutely fabulous while she was paying homage to, the Beatles, and she was channeling them while she went through the crosswalk. And I love the color of that dress on her. And as usual, I love her style. There's a slit, but it's not slutty. You guys get where I'm going with that? A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what she was wearing. Let's move on. We're going to go back to Anne now. She went to visit the childhood home of Eglantine Jebb and Dorothy Buxton. They are sisters that were the co-founders of Save the Children. Now, I've told you before that Anne is the royal patron of that charity, and she has, went and met volunteers who were raising awareness of the sisters and their achievements. She met artist Nick Eames and said that Anne had a passion for all of the art and had a clear view of the sisters and who they were. She also met volunteers and presented the King's Award for Voluntary Service to 8 different groups. Now, she met the artist who did the sculptures of the 2 sisters there and said that the sisters wanted to solve some of the problems created by World War I, and that this visit was the culmination of 5 or 6 years' work to create a garden in the town to remember them. I think that's wonderful. Now, I told you that Anne gave out the award, the King's Award for Voluntary Service, and that was people from Church Aston and the Village Hall, and Anne was seen there chatting with everybody. I just love that jacket. And now we know why she's considered to be one of the hardest working royals. Let's move on now. Next up, Edward the Duke went to visit a few days ago the National Army Museum in London. Edward was given a tour of 2 gallery spaces that had just been refreshed, and those were the Conflict in Europe and Army at Home. Moving on. All right, I don't know which service came first, so I'm just going to do the best I can do here. Edward then attended a service of commemoration and thanksgiving on Anzac Day at the Cenotaph on April 25th in London. This marks the anniversary of the start of the First World War, Gallipoli landings, and a National Day of Remembrance for Australia and New Zealand. There were some fabulous wreaths left. This service took place at dawn, and even the Jewish community left a poppy wreath in the Star of David, which I think was very nice. You could tell he was really moved by the whole thing. I mean, just look at that face. Ugh. So like I said, this took place at dawn, and then he went on to a service of commemoration and thanksgiving at Westminster Abbey. He looked very nice and upbeat as he entered the church. Also there, I saw the pictures, although they're not here in my video, of Sir Tim Lawrence, Prince Anne's husband, who was also in attendance. I'm unaware of any other family members at this time who were there, other than him. Anyway, he walked in, he was greeted to everybody, he took his seat, and of course there was a fabulous service. Now, if I'm getting these things all in the correct order, before Westminster Abbey, but after the cenotaph, Edward went and laid a wreath at the memorial in the crypt at St. Paul's Cathedral to remember all those who served and those who died during the campaign in the First World War. Time to move on now to Prince William. Prince William went to St. Michael's Church of England High School in Sandwell after a student there, Freddie Hadley, who was 12 years old, wrote a letter to the Prince of Wales last year inviting him to come and see their mental health initiatives, which I think is pretty cool. Could you imagine? He writes this letter. He doesn't think that the king is actually, or the future king is actually going to show up, but there you go. William showed up. Love it. William greets everybody outside, and then he walks in, and this is what he is greeted with. It was a complete rock star greeting, the whole school. So while he was there, he heard about the school's award-winning student-led initiatives that's available to students to support their mental health and well-being. William sat down with representatives of this group from the school called Student Voice. He heard about all their initiatives set up at the school to promote positive mental health and well-being. And while he was there, he also revealed Princess Charlotte's favorite joke. I'm sure the kids love to hear it. It's apparently a knock-knock joke about an interrupting cow. While he was there, William also joined that kid Freddie and some of his classmates for a segment on the school's radio station where he was asked to share a dad joke. I don't know what the joke is, but I bet it was good. While William was there, he also went around and spoke to students using one of the initiatives there at the school called Talking Tables. That just sounds very interesting to me. You should know that after William received this kid's letter, he handed off to whomever and said that he wanted to arrange a private visit. None of the students knew that William was coming today. How cool is that? They were simply told to prepare for a VIP guest. As he was leaving, he got a rock star goodbye. Like all the kids had lined up. It was an amazing amount of students that had all lined up to watch him leave. You could just tell. These kids really resonate with William. The younger generation really resonates with him because he is generally a young guy. You know, he is. And he has young children and they just like him and he's just a genuine guy. I think it's wonderful that he made the arrangements to make this surprise visit all over a letter. Wonderful. Now, this is one of those unusual times that William stepped away from Catherine, of course, while she's having her treatments. So I guess he figured while he was out, he would hit a bunch of other stops. Here we go. William then went to the Woodgate Valley Urban Farm, which is a farm in the city dedicated to supporting children and young people that are struggling to access education and those with some mental health challenges. So, of course, he got a tour. He helped prepare lunch for the animals and, did the usual stuff. This is right up his alley. All right, moving on. Sticking with Prince William, he then went to open a new employment skills training and community outreach center for Gettr UK, which is a charity for people affected by homelessness and addiction in Birmingham. Now, of course, he went on a tour of the facility, but he also actually sat down to speak to staff and former addicts while he was there. You can tell by his face that he is literally hanging on every word that these people are saying, that he really, really is interested in what he's doing. And this is towards his initiative to end homelessness. Now, in some of these pictures, you can see he's not the only one that gets broody and looks at the infants and thinks, "Ooh, maybe we should have another one." Remember, he was telling people don't give Catherine any ideas? Yeah. So he toured this entire facility. And at one point, there were some people, they were like hairdressers. So he goes in to talk to the hairdressers and the people who's having their hair cut as well. Wonderful. All right, let's move on. All right, we're just going to touch on this last thing. 4 people were taken to the hospital after some household cavalry horses caused mayhem. They were galloping through the streets of London. There were 7 horses and 6 soldiers having an exercise. The animals were spooked. 4 riders were thrown. 5 of the animals got loose. They smashed into some vehicles, and some pictures came out of one of the horses being bloody before it could be recaptured. 2 of the horses are in serious condition. They have had surgery and they're being monitored. Oh, I hope they get better soon. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit that like button and the subscribe button. Don't forget to go into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, my Amazon wish list. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.